I'm a German person that was in Antakya'da, Hatay during the earthquake, and I will explain to you the details that the news don't show you. A little past 4 a.m. we woke up because the house was shaking. We pressed ourselves against the floor and tried to cover our heads. The walls collapsed around us and things were crashing down everywhere. But the earthquake didn't stop, so after a while I have completely lost my sense of time. We managed to run through the front door and ran outside through the half-vanished staircase. I know all those earthquake tutorial videos tell you to stay put under a table, but in the end, survival is just luck of being not hit by a stone and living in a house that was at least somehow properly built. In the morning, we were able to see the full extent of the destruction. Every house was at least partially collapsed or completely in ashes. People were bleeding and screaming everywhere and trying desperately to find their loved ones. There was no help anywhere, so people tried their best to rescue by themselves. We spent the next 3 days searching for food, water and medical supplies in the broken supermarkets and pharmacies. To make the situation less scary, we called it looting, like in survival games. But in the end, we were just looking for anything to help us until help arrives. After help hadn't come for nearly 3 days, finally the first aid reached us. They distributed water, bread, soup, blankets and provided some charging ports for phones. Even though I am grateful for that and it helped a lot, we found that help by chance when we were randomly walking through the streets looking for supplies. So tell me, how are we supposed to find that help if we have no connection, charge or even phones? And if on top of that, Twitter gets banned for 1 day, so we can't even reach it in the rare moments of having internet. Türkisülay had dropped 4 or 5 tents, but people told us that the tents were not even waterproof, so their children had to sleep in the water during the cold nights. Even for people who wanted to leave the city and had cars, it was difficult to leave, because there was no fuel and Afad couldn't even tell when it would come back. After 36 hours, we discovered the first real rescue vehicle helping to extract people from the ruins. But they were uncoordinated and simply not enough. I know that mistakes happen, especially in such moments of extreme crisis. But the extent of those mistakes is simply unacceptable. Tens of thousands lost their lives in the Kahramanmaraş earthquake, and millions of people have lost their homes and streets they grew up in. What makes it worse is that the severe consequences were avoidable. They are a political failure of the governments, the wars and sanctions. They are a result of poor construction of houses and not enough preparation for emergencies. More than few people didn't directly die in the earthquake. They were stuck in the ruins for days, fighting for their lives and waiting for help. Because of the cold weather, they could only be discovered frozen to death when the rescue vehicles finally arrived. I'm speaking from a privileged perspective because Hatay is not my home. I was just there to visit my friend's family. And most importantly, I didn't lose any. I can't stop thinking about the sad truth that Germany, the country whose passport I hold, would probably show more empathy if I had been among the ones who died. I'm of course a nobody, but a nobody with a German passport. I'm trying my best, but I couldn't do more than treat simple wounds, search for food, and try to be there for my friends and his family. I can't make it unhappen, I can't take the pain away, but I can try to force you not to look away. Because those pictures are not from a movie and the number of deaths is not just a number. It is life, siblings, parents, and children.